Hey guys, it's Maymay, and today we are making this spiral ornament, which I'm going to tell you, it didn't kick my hiney, but I made it 3 times going, why is this not working, before I realized why it wasn't working. You know, sometimes you just think you know what you're doing, but you really don't know what you're doing. Well, that was the case with me on this ornament. I kept going, oh, that's simple, and it is simple, but in my brain I was messing it up. So I'm hoping today I can do it without being too difficult for you guys to do it. So this was sent to me. Let me find the instructions. Here they are. So this was sent to me by Marjorie, and she found it in Paper Crafts magazine at some point in time. This is where she saw it, and she made it, and she sent me the instructions, which I thought was really cool. And she modified this to make 2 others. So let me show you real quick. This one and this one. So she did that on her own. So that's cool how you take something and turn it into something else. So we have the daddy and the mama and the baby. Well, I'm going to make this big daddy one today, and on the blog, we're going to have measurements for these. You're going to do them the same way, but I'll have the measurements for those. So let me show you mine. So this one's Marjorie's. This one is the one I made. Check it out. I think it looks kind of cool, right? I like the 2-tone paper, and you can play around and do what you want to. By the way, my sidekick is here now. He was not here when I started.
I am here.
He was busy with a customer. Okay, so check this out. I think this is so pretty. It's hard to show like this, but wouldn't this be a neat gift to give to somebody? Now, a couple of things different, and I'm going to have to tell you, some of the little warnings about it. So Marjorie did hers out of paper, and you can really tell that I did mine out of a cardstock, and I can tell the difference. Like, hers is really more movie and probably maybe even more spirally than mine, and mine is a little more sturdy, more stiff, because it is cardstock. But I don't have a lot of paper. I do mostly all my stuff in cardstock. So we're going to get started. Before I do, this is a live video, so we have a chat going right now, and Vince is in the chat. Our Troll Patrol is in the chat. If you have any questions as we go, put them in capital letters for me, and that way we'll be sure to catch them. All right, so here we go. First off, this only takes 1 piece of 12 by 12 paper to make this big guy. That's all it takes. You're going to take a 12 by 12 piece of paper, and I'll show you the pack I use, because I know you're going to want to know. And I just had it in here a minute ago. Where'd I put it? Here it is. I did not clean up my craft room, but I bet I still won't find stuff today. This is the paper pack I'm using. It's from Cartabella, and we have some of this. I think this was a discontinued pack. You get the red, the cream, and the green in here, and look how pretty that is. It's all foiled. Let me show you where it's not in the package. I'm gonna bring that ornament back over. See, the words are all foiled. Isn't that pretty? I think this would be pretty on a Christmas tree. So if you're interested, we have that in the store at maymaymadeit.com. Okay, so you're gonna take a whole piece of 12 by 12 paper. You're going to cut it into 1-inch strips, the whole piece, okay? What I did first, I want to give you a little heads up. I think this is the way to go. I took my 12 by 12 paper and I scored it at 6 inches down the middle first. I prepped this ahead of time. I'm just going to do another piece to show you, because I don't like not showing you step by step. Let me just pull out another piece, because I'm sure I'll make more of these, because they are so pretty. Okay, so I took my scoreboard. I took a 12 by 12 piece, and with my words going in this direction because of the way I want it to land, I'm going to be cutting my strips like this, so I made sure my words were correct. I am going to score this in half at 6 inches. I found that doing this ahead of time kept me from having to score 12 pieces of paper individually. Also, you don't have to score. You could just fold the strips, but I think scoring it makes it real easy. So once you score it at 6 inches, you're going to take your trimmer, and you're going to cut them at 1-inch increments. 1 inch.
Teresa asked, can you use textured cardstock?
Yeah, you can. Just know the stiffer your cardstock, the stiffer the ornament. So let me cut this and I'll show you. So you're going to cut 12 1-inch pieces that are scored for you. Does that make sense? If I had not scored them, I'd have to go back and score them or just fold them. So 12 pieces, I've already prepped all of those for our ornament. Now what you're going to do with these pieces, matter of fact, I'll do it with this one as well, is you are going to fold them on that score mark, just like so, and then we're going to glue them together. This is why single-sided paper would be really good for this project. If you're a person that has a lot of single-sided paper, or you never know exactly what to use it for, this is a great project for that, because what you're going to do is make it sturdy by adding glue. I just used this glue. What did I do wrong? Oh. It's got a big wad of glue in the top of it. That's what it was. Okay. So you're going to glue this down and make it sturdy. So paper will work, and it won't matter if it's single-sided. because it'll be hidden inside there and you're basically making these double anyway. So you're just going to fold that over, glue it closed. Let's do some more. Now I prepped these ahead of time because this takes a minute and I didn't want you guys to have to watch me do 12 of these live. So this is what you're going to end up with, okay? And so I already have these done. Let me show you. So I did them like a peppermint. So I have 6 white and I have 6 red. I thought that turned out kind of cute. To me it looked really spiral. Now we need to poke some holes in these guys. You can interrupt me with questions because I don't have my screen, so I don't know if there's any questions coming in or anything.
None so far.
Okay. So I'm going to poke holes in these guys. I'm going to do 3 at a time because I'm going to use my crocodile. But you don't have to use a crocodile. You can do this with a regular hole punch. I do want to tell you that I took my crocodile and on the side I set it to be the 1/4 of an inch, like, what is this called, opening, so that every time I put these in I know I'm only going to a 1/4 of an inch, and I just eyeball the middle. So I did 3 at one time there. I'm going to flip these over. I'm going to do the same thing at the bottom. Eyeball center and punch the hole. And I'm using the smaller of the two. You know, crocodile has a small hole and a large hole. I'm using the smaller. So let's do these 3. Once you know how to do this, this ornament's not hard. You'll make a bunch of these. It can look a little difficult, but it's not that bad. Let's do both ends. It was tough when I didn't realize the trick. Because in my mind I was like, oh, I know. You just string it and then pull it up the string, and that's not exactly right. Poke in there.
So we get asked this a lot, but Kim wants to know what craft mat are you using?
This one I just bought off of Amazon, and I want to say it's by like Memory Makers, or I know Alvin has one. There's an Alvin brand, but I just get them on Amazon. I said I'm gonna try to get them in the store. The problem is shipping them. They're kind of hard to ship. You know what I'm saying? But if you can figure that out, we could get some for everybody. Because Vince has to figure out shipping.
Do you think this would work? Fantastic Crafts is asking, can this be done with an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper?
You could do it with 8.5 by 11, but well, yeah, but you probably need 2 pieces. Because you get 8 pieces, because you still want it to be an inch. So they end up being an inch by 11. It'd be a little bit shorter. You know what? It's paper. What do I say? Just try it. You can use what you got is what I say. Now I also want to show you, I'm going to use some different beads. Okay, this is important. In Marjorie's, she has these spacers between. Can you see the spacers? Let me see if I can open that up. See that little spacer bead in there? Okay. So she put these little spacers in. Well, I went to find spacers in my town and could not find them. But I did find this strand of beads that came with these little pieces that kind of looked like spacers. Well, because I couldn't find very many, I decided on my original, or my tester ornament, to not put the spacers in, and it worked just fine. I think the reason it worked fine without the spacers is because I use cardstock. So I'm not going to use the spacers, even though you can, okay? I'm not going to use the spacers because I think it works just fine without them. I'm going to get myself a bead and some twine. I say twine. I found this at Walmart. This is some hemp cord, and I like the grip it kind of has. And you want to get yourself a good bit. It's going to be more than I probably really need. I tend to do that. I tend to always cut too much string for things. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to thread this bead onto here, and I'm going to tie a knot at the bottom. Just like so. And I'm probably going to do that twice so it'll be a little chubbier of a knot. Vinny, you're so quiet today.
Marjorie said she used hemp cord.
That's what this is. I just guessed. That's hemp cord. I just like the way it looks. So, and I mean, I like the texture to it too. So there we go. So I put a bead at the bottom. Okay. Now then, I'm going to move this bead out of the way, and you're just going to see this end of our string. All right. Now I'm going to alternate. Now something that the instruction said is that you want to use the raw edge as the bottom and the folded edge as the top. So you're going to put the bottom on first. So I'm putting the folded edge on first. And they said that was just kind of for like, you know, just cosmetic purposes, just to make it look pretty. So I'm putting that the raw edge, not the folded edge, the raw edge on first. And I'm going to alternate my colors, red and then white. So This part is easy. You're just threading them on. And like I said, I'm not using the spacer, but you totally can if you want to. Something else. I was really picky about the font. Like at first I was like, oh, I want to make sure that the writing is all going in the same direction and all this. Well, when I finished, I noticed that I didn't do a very good job of that, and it didn't matter. It turned out cute anyway, so I'm not worried about the writing. But if you want to be real picky about having the writing all going in the same direction, pay attention to that. But for me, it just didn't make that big of a difference. And I'm real bad about doing that right anyway. So, all right. Oh.
We had one subscriber that said that you can find those spacers in the jewelry department at Michael's.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's where you get them from. I just don't have a Michael's. I have a Walmart and a Dollar Tree. And when I went, my jewelry department is the worst. Yeah, those spacers they're easy to come by if you go to a craft store. I just don't live in a town where we have one. So, and how many times I tell you guys, use what you got, right? And I thought, I don't got a spacer, I can do this without. And it does work. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take these guys right here, and just for the heck of it, I'm going to give them a bend. I'm using cardstock, remember, and it's doubled over now, so it's a little stiff, and I want to give it a little help while I can, okay? So that's what I did. Here's the trick. You think you're going to just run this through all of these pieces and squeeze it together. You can do that, but you don't get a spiral. You get like a oval or just kind of a spaceship kind of shape. To get the spiral, you have to do this. So see how I have them laying here? This is the one that I finished with, okay? I want to go to the one I started with. So I'm going to pick this one up and I'm going to thread it through. It's going to seem weird, and I'm going to try to do this so that you can see it done real easy. But so now I have the first one I strung on, strung here and here, okay? Now I'm going to go to the second one I strung and, the second one I strung and feed it through. And it's going to land on top of the last one, okay? Does that make sense? I'm trying to make this where you can see what's happening. So pick up the third one that I strung on the string. This red one.
Is that right? That don't sound right.
What?
That I strung on the string.
Is it? I don't know. It's my southern vocabulary. So every time you're going to the next one that you had put on the string first. This is where we're going to get the spiral. If you don't do this, like I said, you just get kind of a spaceship shape, which is really cute because I did that when I messed it up. Because in my brain, I'm like, oh, I'm just going to do this. Well, you got to know the secret.
Now, Bonnie said if you are doing spacers, you put them between each one.
Yes. If you're doing spacers, put it so if you were doing a spacer, let me show you. So here we go. Let's just pretend I'm going to do a spacer. So here I've done this. Then I would...
Would a sequin work?
A bead did not work. I tried a bead. See, I don't want to fight with this. So I would put a spacer on in between if you're doing it. The beads were too long. You try whatever though. Try what you've got. I just discovered I didn't need it. After I tried to get the right spacers and all that kind of stuff, I just didn't need it. And I like to kind of craft like that. So again, the most important thing is you're kind of working your way backwards. See how we're getting that spiral already? Then this one. And then this one. I think I just strung this one wrong. Let's see if I did. Yes, I did. Hold on. I'm going to take that one out because I think I strung that one. Yeah. All right, last one. Let me put this back through there. You want to make sure you string them all the same because remember, you want one to lay over the last one. So let me show you what's going to happen. See how it's kind of spiraling already? So it's like this. This is the first one I strung, and it's the first one on the bottom. And then they all lay over like that. Can you see that good on camera?
Well, I'm only looking at the chat, so I don't see what's on the camera.
Now, to get the shape, to get that pretty ornament shape, oh, I have a twisted one, it looks like. I need to look at that and see if I really do, because I feel like I do. Did I string one wrong? We'll see what happens. I think I did. We may have an issue with this, because I'm thinking I strung that one incorrectly. Let me see. No, it worked out. Okay, so do you see how I did that? I just pulled it and made it as tight as you want it. See how it automatically goes into that shape? The pull is what does it. It reminds me of those pull bows. You know the bows that you pull and they turn into a bow? Now, you can make this as tight as you want. This is totally up to you. As loose, if you want it to be a little longer spiral like this. I think they're pretty in that little oblong shape. But watch this. Let's make it tighter. Look, if you want it to be more round, you know, you do you, whatever you want. Then I'm just going to finish it off. You can finish it off in so many different ways. You can use beads, you can use charms, you can use tassels. Tassels are really pretty hanging off the bottom of these, by the way. I've seen pictures on the internet of that. So I'm going to take this bead and push it up against here, okay, holding it where I want it. I'm going to loosen it a bit because I like it. I think that's pretty like that. Then I'm just going to come down here and tie a knot. And I may need to tie two because I want that bead to stay in place. So I'll put this one in. I'm going to tie this down here. Okay, there's one. Let me tie another one just to be safe. And guys, that's how easy this ornament is to make. I mean, it seemed like a lot more work when I was looking at the picture and all that kind of stuff. So see, that bead holds it in place. Look at that. Easy, right?
Betty asked, would baker's twine work?
I think it would, but I really like the sturdiness of this kind of coated hemp cord. I'm putting another bead on because I think it's pretty. And here I'm going to do a loop at the top, as big as you want your loop to hang it from, right? And then I'm going to tie this loop in a knot low, close to those beads. So see, I'm pushing that knot down on top of those beads. And then I'm just going to trim my string away. And that's what's so cool too, because it creates its own, the string holds it all together and creates its own loop. And that's it, y'all. I mean, how simple was that, right? I love how this turned out. There's this one we just did. This one I did with gold beads. And then let's bring Marjorie's back over. Check it out. How cool are those? How long did that take to do?
Not long.
Because the cutting and the
17 minutes. So.
The cutting and the gluing is easy. Matter of fact, if you knew you wanted to make maybe 10 of these, you could sit down in front of the TV, take 10 pieces of 12 by 12 paper, cut them into 1-inch strips, fold them and glue them, and then it's just a matter of going to town and putting them together. They're not hard to do. I just think they're so cute. So what do you think? Does everybody like this? I love when you guys send me stuff and then you would not believe how many people wanted to see this ornament done. You would not believe. So many people were begging for it. So I appreciate you sharing your inspiration and everything with this, Marjorie. I think it turned out adorable. And again, I didn't use, let me show you this. Do you see how much body there is in this area because I used doubled over cardstock? I don't believe the spacers would make, I mean, they'd be pretty in there. They'd sparkle and shine, but I don't think they'd make that much of a difference. But if you're going to use the paper, they do look pretty in here. I still think that you wouldn't have had to have them in there. So the reason I say that, let me say this real quick. The reason I say that is because if you don't have them, don't let that be the reason you don't try this ornament. Because I think if you're just using your paper at home, you can do it. That's all I'm saying.
We had a couple people ask about using glue to secure the knot.
You absolutely can. Now, let me tell you something. On this hemp twine, this stuff's held in place. This is not going anywhere. But if you want to, you can always put a dot of glue, especially something like this. This is what I do a lot of times, this white glue, and just kind of work it into the fibers of the string. But this hemp twine, and if Marjorie's watching, she can say that too, it has a catch, like a natural catch to it. And you'll feel that when you mess around with it. Look at this too. Marjorie used like these little pony beads, like the star pony beads. That's cute, isn't it? I love it.
Anna, it may be the same question, so if I'm double upping here, I apologize. But
double upping? Is that a word?
Yeah. Can you glue the gaps together? Is that the same question basically, or is she talking about in between the pieces?
You can, but what happens is because of the way you do this, because of the way the paper is done in a spiral, they're not gonna close up on you. See, like, they don't close. Does that make sense? Because they're locked into place. Not just mine, even Marjorie's. Do you see this? Even hers is paper. They're still locked in because you do it in a spiral situation. So you don't have to glue them. They're not gonna flatten out on you, if that helps. I love them. I think we could make a bunch of these. I honestly think, okay, I want to do this for you guys. Let's think about this. If you wanted to make, 50 ornaments for your tree, that's a lot. But if you want to make 50 ornaments, it's 50 pieces of paper. And more than that, when you do the little guys, let me just tell you real quick. This one is a 9-inch by 1-inch strip. Okay, so that's what this one is. This one is 6 by 1, and you only use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces to make this little tiny one. Isn't that cool? This one you use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And by the way, the information will be in the blog post. All these will be marked out for you so you can see the sizes and everything.
Miss Jones said this would be a great idea for a family. You could have a daddy ornament, a mommy ornament, and a kiddo ornament.
You could. And another thing, which I think would be super cute, is if you had like a youth group and you printed a 12 by 12 piece of paper, or even if you did 8.5 by 11, just do 2 of them. And you printed photos, and then whenever you did this, the photos would be on the strips and they could find their face or find themselves. That would be cute too. And you could always, now this is my thought, you know I like to find gift packages, right? What if you did it, this is not going to fit in there. Let me find something that would. But look, what if you wanted to give your crafty friend some washi tape? Look, it's a package now. How cute is that, right? And it's holding that in there. So then when you give it to him, you can go look inside. Oh, it's washi tape. How cute, right? Love it.
And this is a cardstock that you're using, not just regular paper.
This is 80-pound cardstock, which I want to point that out. It's a nice thick cardstock. Is it 80? I want to say it is 80. Yeah, 80-pound cover weight even. This is a nice thick sturdy cardstock. This is paper. Anything here and in between. I don't know about, and this is paper, by the way. This is like a single-sided paper, and it works perfect. It works great. I just love them. I think it's a great way to play with paper, and I love to play with paper. I love it. It's my favorite thing. So that's all I got today.
We've answered all the questions.
I mean, that was super duper easy. And so if you don't mind hanging around, we're going to close this video out. I like to do the craft and then close the video out and let you guys, if you're not interested in hanging around for the crafty after show, we're going to then come back and sign back in for our crafty after show. So if you have other questions not related to this ornament, we'll be answering those in that. Now, if you just came for the tutorial, I ask that you please try this project out and share it with us on our Facebook group, which is called Maymay Made It, and so did I. I love to see your recreations and what you do and add and change and all that good stuff. So please share with us over there so we can see what you're doing. Hey, thanks so much for watching. And if you want to see the crafty after show, stick around on my channel and you'll be able to click on in just about, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes. We'll see you in just a few. Thanks, guys.
Bye.